Cori Close, UCLA women's basketball coach, walked into a media room and found one reporter waiting. One. After the only ranked women's game of the day. Instead of ignoring it, she called out the truth no one else dares. The media has abandoned women's college basketball.
My instant reaction is, oh, how quickly they forget. Right? How quickly they forget. As the Pope would say, no Clark, no spark. Caitlin Clark is now 2 years removed from women's college basketball. Out of sight, out of mind, women's college basketball now is never again for the casual fan. We are back to those levels of not caring about women's college basketball. So I didn't care about women's college basketball until I heard of Caitlin Clark. Guilty as charged, and I didn't care. ESPN didn't care. Fox Sports didn't care. Independent media didn't care. Random podcasters didn't care. They just didn't care.
Just 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark's insane scoring streaks made ESPN act like women's hoops ruled the world. Now, empty chairs, empty coverage, empty promises. Before Clark, most fans didn't even notice women's college basketball existed. Then she shattered records, and suddenly everyone acted like they'd been watching all along. Number 2. Look at the timeline closely. During Caitlin Clark's senior season in 2024, Iowa's games averaged over 2 million viewers. ESPN ran full segments breaking down her shot selection. Fox Sports ran daily features. Independent podcasters who had never touched the sport suddenly spoke like insiders. The national championship game drew 18.7 million viewers, the most watched basketball game, men's or women's, in 5 years. Now UCLA faces a ranked opponent, and one reporter shows up. Not because the game lacked quality, not because UCLA is weak, but because the player who drew casual fans is gone. Excuses come fast. College football playoffs, the NFL, NHL games. But that falls apart on closer inspection. All those leagues existed during Clark's run.
College football playoff. There's hockey. And there's that other league. Oh yeah, the NFL is taking. Yeah, there's some other things that media would rather do. They saw Caitlin Clark. They saw the hype. They saw the attention. They jumped on board. You guys really bought into the fact that they cared about you. What did they say in Temptation? Nobody cared about you, Oni!
The NFL still dominated Sundays. College football owned Saturdays. Hockey was on national TV. And none of that stopped women's basketball from finding a massive audience when Clark was on the floor. The difference was never competition. The difference was Clark. She made people care about a sport they had ignored for years. The moment she graduated, the ecosystem snapped back to 2022. Juju Watkins at USC was positioned as the next torchbearer until injury hit. Paige Bueckers was expected to continue the momentum, but she's now in the WNBA. That shift matters because it exposes how the industry treats women's basketball when the spotlight moves on. Kim Mulkey is living that reality. This is not a shot at her program, it's a snapshot of the moment. The truth most quietly knew. A huge chunk of the audience only cared because of Clark. The numbers confirm it. In 2022, the average women's college basketball game drew roughly 400,000 viewers. By Clark's senior year, Iowa's regular season games pulled 2 to 3 million. But here's the key: when Iowa wasn't playing, other programs didn't see the same jump. Fans weren't tuning in for women's basketball, they were tuning in for Caitlin Clark. The media knew this. Coverage exploded not because they discovered the quality of the game, but because Clark delivered clicks, views, and engagement. It created the illusion that the sport had crossed into the mainstream, but in reality, one player had. Meanwhile, Dawn Staley has South Carolina undefeated and number 1. Kim Mulkey has LSU competing at the highest level. Paige Bueckers begins her WNBA career with Minnesota. Flo J. Johnson is one of the most marketable players in college basketball. But the attention drop is real. South Carolina's games average 600,000 viewers. Solid, until you remember Iowa tripled that with Clark. LSU's numbers look similar. The dip has nothing to do with quality. Dominance and talent never drove the Clark era ratings. Star power did, and it was 1 star. For anyone who claimed Clark was the face of a rising tide that would lift all boats, the tide is gone. Coaches like Cori Close are left wondering how the water vanished so fast. Even the Nike logo situation says everything. Paige Bueckers got a signature logo, but it's literally a bucket. Not a stylized hoop, not a reflection of her game, just a paint bucket you'd grab at Home Depot. It exposes the real problem. Nike didn't sign Bueckers because of long-term belief in her market power. They signed her because of the Caitlin Clark effect. When Clark signed with Nike in 2024 for a multi-million-dollar 8-year deal, the pressure hit immediately. Nike needed more women's players under contract to prove they were serious. So they rushed Bueckers' shoe line, and her logo looked like it was made in an afternoon. Number 3. Caitlin Clark carried women's basketball on her back. Iowa games hit 2 to 3 million viewers. The national championship drew 18.7 million. ESPN, Fox podcasts, everyone was talking. Now, UCLA plays a ranked team. One reporter shows up. The WNBA is quiet outside Clark's Indiana Fever games.
This logo. Let's get to it. This logo, to me, is proof that Nike just doesn't care. This is the logo that you get when you just don't want to put in any effort, you don't want to think at all, you don't want to put in any brain power. This is what the kids would call slop. Slop. Paige Bueckers, Paige bucket. This literally looks like a bucket. Like a sand bucket. This looks like you go to Home Depot, you go to the garbage section, they got those silver barons bucket. It looks like one of those. This looks like a garbage can for her logo. Oh, goodness.
Unrivaled launches with almost zero buzz. Star power is gone, and so is the audience. Nike gave Paige Bueckers a literal paint bucket logo. Not creativity, not belief, just box checking. Without a transcendent star, the sport can't sustain the attention it got during Clark Mania. The truth, Caitlin Clark did not make women's basketball mainstream. She made herself mainstream. Fans followed her, not the sport. Once she left, the ecosystem snapped back. Growth will now be slower, messier, and star-driven, like every other sport in history. Women's basketball is not dying. It's recalibrating. The hype bubble burst. The next generational talent will determine if the spotlight returns, or if the media keeps walking past empty press rooms.